Hello, this is Resource of the Week with SolanoConnex, Mental Health, Service Access, and You. My name is Valentina Kelly.
And I'm Elena Starr. And this week we're meeting with Katie Stith with Aldea Substance Use Disorder Services, who is also the Administrative Supervisor, and Mark Mautner, who is also the Substance Use Disorder Services Program Director. So thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Would you mind just telling us a little bit about what Aldea is or what you guys do?
Absolutely. Aldea is a local nonprofit. We serve Solano County, Napa County, and Sonoma County. We have a lot of programs. We have our ACS program, Aldea Counseling Services, which provides mental health care and intervention for young people ages 12 to 21. We have our early intervention program for people who experience their first psychosis. So people with serious mental illness like schizophrenia or bipolar 1 disorder. That program is called SOAR. And then we have a treatment foster care unit that works with resource families and does emergency placements for youth in unfortunate traumatic situations. And then we have what Katie and I are here representing, which is our substance use disorder services. The substance use disorder services in Solano County is a fairly new program. We're at about a year, and we're providing services while concurrently developing our program and becoming more viable in the community.
Wow, you guys do so much. But we're really excited to learn more about the SUDS program that you guys both represent. Do you want to tell us a little bit about just a brief intro of like what exactly that is? I know you just kind of mentioned it, but just in case anyone's listening is not familiar with it.
Sure. We provide substance use disorder services, which are for young people ages 12 to 21. Katie, in a little bit, I'm sure we'll talk about our youth opioid response grant. And for our YOUR grant, we can serve young people up to age 24. And we serve young people who have substance use disorders. So we provide individual counseling services. We provide group counseling services. We work with families. We work with youth in the community. We truly believe in meeting kids where they are, not just as a catchphrase, but actually meeting kids where they are, whether it's in their homes, in local parks, in a Starbucks, or in the schools. So we love working with young people.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And is there anything that community members should know when they're requesting services? Like, for example, what kind of costs or insurances you take?
It's a really good question, actually. So we contract with Partnership Health Plan, and we are a drug Medi-Cal facility. We do have the opportunity to augment some of our costs with a contractual relationship with Solano County and a particular grant that they get from the state. We are able to serve people who do not have insurance, people who are Medi-Cal, and people who have other insurances and have done their due diligence to receive substance use treatment through their insurer. And if they have been unable to do that, and we are happy and comfortable to assist people in making those phone calls and trying to determine if their insurance provider does indeed provide substance use treatment that is available and viable, then we are also able to work with them too. So in short, Medi-Cal, people without insurance, and then folks with other healthcare insurance providers, we ask that they do their due diligence to find if their insurer carries a substance use disorder treatment, and if not, then we can work with them.
Okay, great. And do you offer your services in other languages other than English?
We do. I feel like I'm taking over. I feel like I need to let Katie field a question or two. Katie, would you like to field this one?
Absolutely. So we do have bilingual staff. We have staff bilingual in Spanish. So we are able to provide services in Spanish in a direct capacity. So the counselor themselves is speaking Spanish. We also contract with translators. So if there's a family or a youth that requires something beyond English or Spanish, we can definitely make accommodations for that. We want to make sure that like Mark said, we're meeting them where they're at and connecting with the families. And so we make sure that we have those resources.
Thank you. I had just a follow-up question. I know that you meet people where they're at, but where are your physical locations?
I can jump in on that one. So we in Solano County, our office is on Business Center Drive, kind of in the Sassoon area, and we offer our one-on-one sessions there. We have group sessions there. We also have satellite locations where our counselors can go and meet with the youth. So there's one in Vallejo. There's also one in Vacaville. And like Mark said, we will also try to just make something work, obviously keeping in confidentiality in mind when we're meeting with the youth and their family. But if they can't come to us, we do our best to go to them.
Now, Katie, you have a program, was it a youth opioid response program?
Correct. Right? Yes. So Aldea received a grant. It's called the California Youth Opioid Response Grant. And it is a grant that we received from the California Department of Healthcare Services. And we are utilizing that grant monies to really focus on the opioid and stimulant use disorders that we are seeing really expand in Solano County specifically. It's nice because this also expands our services beyond the age of 21. It allows us to start working with youth up to 24 years old, which we see in that transitional age. So 18 to 24, as I'm sure you're aware, is kind of what is referred to as transitional age youth. So technically they're an adult, but still in need of pretty significant supportive services in some instances. So we can work with them. And really the focus for us, at least in the beginning, is forming partnerships within Solano County. So working with other community-based organizations, working with the schools and other healthcare providers to make sure that first and foremost, the information is out there. We have to educate folks around the statistics and get that information out there. I think that, people are hearing bits and pieces and anecdotal stories, but it makes a big difference when people can see the numbers. Yeah. I am a huge numbers person. And I think that it can be shocking for some folks to see the numbers.
How, so say someone was interested in getting that information or education from you, how would they go about to do that?
So I am the point of contact for Aldea and our outreach services for SUDS. So I can provide you guys with my email address, my phone number, and we are just really looking to connect with other folks so that we can get out into the community. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a presentation at the Benicia Teen Center, which we're really excited about. And we've done different presentations with coalitions within Solano County to get information out there about the services that we provide, and also the fact that we want to connect. We want to really make a smooth transition for youth when they are first introduced to the idea of treatment, and how, what are the entry points, right? Where are the places where they're at, who they're already interacting with our partners and our stakeholders, and getting them connected to the resources that they need for recovery. And then once they get to that place where they have sustained some sobriety, they feel strong in their treatment completion, we can look at a transition plan and supportive services for them on the exit point, and allowing them to build a support system so that, we can start to take a step back and they are happy and healthy and successful on their own.
I kind of want to follow that up a little bit if I can, because it's such an important topic and an important distinction. When you have so many community providers in Solano, which we're very blessed to have, there's a lot of folks out there who are providing intervention and providing services for young people. Oftentimes when we exist in a vacuum, or I'm sure you've heard the word bandied around quite a bit, people talking about silos, it would be the word du jour, that, you know, a lot of the time we end up inadvertently in competition over time, because especially when young people are in school or they have family obligations or they have, you know, maybe a probation officer, you know, let's be honest, a lot of people come to substance use disorder services through some sort of trouble, whether that be in the schools or in with the law. That really working together and co-creating a true coordination of care with other providers and walking sort of arm in arm, as opposed to trying to pull and get youth into, you know, your office, is just really helpful for the young people to have a centralized understanding of all the services that are being provided. So that's important to us. That's why we're doing a lot of the outreach. Aside from the grant, I think we would be doing it anyway, because that's, to me, what makes interventions really meaningful and powerful, as opposed to confusing to young people and families.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so needed to have everyone on the same page and working together.
And is there a website or social media that people can go to just to learn more about Aldea?
Absolutely. So our website is aldeainc.org. And so that will bring someone to obviously all of our services. And within that, they can look at the different services that we provide. Like Mark said at the beginning, we're in Solano, we're also in Napa and Sonoma counties. So, you know, I have, in the work that I've done over the last couple of decades, there's so much crossover when you have families that are, you know, living in different counties. Sometimes they're moving from, you know, family member's house to family member's house and crossing those imaginary borders of where they would qualify for services. So, you know, making sure that people understand what we have available in what county. And then we also have social media. So Facebook, we obviously are trying to, you know, post as often as we can about different things that we have coming up and opportunities to get support. As part of the Youth Opioid Response Grant, one of the things that we are going to start implementing is a drop-in center in our Solano office. So when we, you know, start with that, we'll be doing kind of a media burst about days and times and what exactly will be available during that drop-in center time, so that sometimes just calling and making an appointment seems like an insurmountable task.
Big deal
for folks.
Yeah.
And if they can just say, okay, I know that I can go, like this Friday, I'm going to go after school and I'm going to walk in and I'm just going to say, how can you help me? Right. That sometimes seems less daunting than making a phone call to someone that you don't know if they're going to be nice to you on the phone.
Yeah.
All of our people are very nice. You can call, but it's anxiety producing, right? So trying to create those opportunities for young people and their families to engage in a much more warm and inviting setting.
Yeah, no, that's so great. I mean, it's so needed. And, you know, having a welcome space, like you said, that people can go to and rely on being there and just checking it out that way. I mean, that's awesome. We're excited to, we'll look out for those announcements.
Yes, please do.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Elena.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, was there anything else that either of you wanted to add that we didn't give you a chance to touch on yet?
Not that I can think of. I mean, we could, if you would like, get into what treatment actually looks like for young people. So we could talk a little bit about group modality or evidence-based curriculums or, things of that nature. But that tends to be a little bit in the weeds for the people who are kind of coming in if they're interested in finding out about, matrix for youth or, our trauma informed curriculum, then we're happy to field those calls and questions too. So, and then we are also just on top of that, able to offer hybrid services. So I think that's an important thing for folks to know is a lot of the time transportation is difficult. For people getting to an office space is difficult. We do offer telehealth options, telephone options, really any way that we can connect and meet with young people that works for them, we are able to do.
Awesome.
I think one other piece, oh, sorry, Elena.
No, you go.
I think one other piece that's important for folks to know is that we operate in a harm reduction capacity. Yeah. And so the idea of, coming into treatment and having, I have to be meeting certain expectations at all times and things like that. We work with them where they are, not just in the physical location, but also, in their stage of change. Are they ready to address things? We have a spectrum of treatment levels that we offer. But like Mark said, we understand people are busy. They have school, they have work, they have other obligations. And so we want to make sure that we are offering as much service as they need in the capacity that they have, and having an understanding that it's not a straight path to sobriety. It's there's going to be, setbacks, and there's going to be times when things are harder. And we just want to focus on that harm reduction. We are handing out fentanyl testing strips at outreach events, and really pushing the like Narcan, making sure that people have Narcan available. We are working on getting a supply of our own so we can pass it out. But when we look at the rates of overdose and things like that, these harm reduction approaches, it's going to save lives. And that's the most important thing.
We're not in the business of telling people what to do or getting in power struggles with folks. We're in the business of helping people be guided towards wellness and, safety within the community that makes sense for them and their families. So
this is so amazing. We're so happy you guys were able to join us today, and maybe we can have you come back and maybe talk about more of those pieces a different time, and help spread the education and awareness, because I think that's what it sounds like this is all about, right? And helping people and saving lives. We have one last question for both of you.
Sure.
And it is, because we're mental health and emotional health as well, but what is your favorite self-care technique that you guys do?
Mark, you want to go first?
Sure. I don't have them in my pocket now because I'm in my home, and I typically carry them around with me, but I carry around a little amethyst rock and a little tiger's eye. And I will take those out and I'll just kind of shuffle them in my hand and feel the smoothness of the rocks and do a little bit of deep breathing. So nothing, self-care doesn't have to be a trip to Esalen. Like it can be a small gesture that you do just to be mindful of that particular time. And I use little spirit rocks.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
Katie, what about you?
Mine is music, hands down. If I just need to have a moment and be able to kind of be to myself, but not in my thoughts too much. Depending on my mood will be what genre of music it is. But my favorite is driving, windows down, music on, just taking that time.
Love that. Yeah, so great.
Well, thank you both again for joining us today and teaching us a little bit more about the services that you provide. To learn more about this resource, please check out the link in our post. And we want to remind you that if you're looking for other mental or emotional health resources and services, you can visit SolanoConnex, which is spelled CONNEX.org. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do.